it's a message and a warning shot to the Fed chairman. Look, I don't think you need the 3D chess to know what's going on here. I talked about this when he began leaning on the Fed chairman. I said, when he started talking about the Fed board, then he singled out this Lisa Cook, governor on the Fed board. I said, she is being singled out, but it's a message to Jerome Powell. It is, I want interest rates lower. I want control of the Fed board. And if you won't give it to me, I'll get rid of all of you that I can. I'll make life so difficult for you. I will get what I want. So Lisa Cook is the example, but the real recipient of the message for Trump should be Jerome Powell. I, Donald Trump, am going to take control of this situation. So he says he's firing Lisa Cook. Now, legally, I don't think he can do it. I'll talk to David K. Johnson about it, but it's supposed to be. And, this is part of the magical quality and attractive quality about the U.S. is that there is independence between these and among these government agencies. Not anymore. These government agencies increasingly are taken over and have become political arms of Donald Trump and MAGA Nation. So the removal of Lisa Cook, again, she's a Federal Reserve Board governor, is a message that I don't care what the law is. I'm going to make life horribly difficult for those who defy my requests and my orders. He wrote a letter addressed to Cook. It was posted on social media last night. He said there was sufficient evidence that Cook made false statements in mortgage agreements, and for that reason, he wants to remove her from her role. This is a little of it's almost Stalin-esque. Bring me the person and I'll show you what they've done wrong. Bring me the person and I will concoct the charges I need to go after that person. And this mortgage thing may be the new weaponization that he can effectively turn on people he wants to get rid of. At minimum, the conduct at issue exhibits the sort of gross negligence in financial transactions that calls into question your competence and trustworthiness as a financial regulator. That the letter specified. She said, Donald Trump has no authority to fire her, and that she will, quote, continue to carry out my duties. I will not resign, she said. Now, her attorney, Abby Lowell, and Abby Lowell is no stranger to Washington. Abby Lowell is saying legal action is coming. They will take whatever actions are necessary in order to block what they describe as Trump's, quote, attempted illegal action. Now, you'll remember last week, Trump called on her to resign, and that is when I first said, this is a message to Powell. I want those interest rates lowered. And this is the culmination, sort of what was going on with what began last week, singling out Lisa Cook. It's not lost on me that she's black.
No.
Sadly, that shouldn't be a thing, but I think it's the thing in a lot of ways with this administration. Women, black, gay, lesbian particularly, gay, Bessent's gay, I don't know. I think he has a real issue with women. But be that as it may, she's going to sue. And that lawsuit is going to reveal a lot. And, it's yet more smoke. I don't know, again, that he'll be able to remove her from this position. It's interesting. The Federal Reserve is, again, it's a board supposed to be independent of the executive branch, and the way it works is the governors are appointed, but there are a handful of bankers. Thank you for that, Tony. there are a handful of bankers that are also part of it. So there's a mix of people. And then, of course, there's the chairman, Jerome Powell. So the idea is that you get consensus from this board of governors. And then in that way, they handle monetary policy for the U.S. And I would say it's quite important, and I might say the cornerstone of the Fed is that they operate independent of the executive. And one of the things that has drawn investors to the U.S., international investors to the U.S., one of the reasons people come here to start businesses, invest with money, but let's just talk about investment. The reason, in part, is because there is this separation. There is sort of an objective aspect to the way the American economy is managed. And you've lost that objectivity now. Now you have Donald Trump, failed businessman, knows nothing. Look at the way this tariffs thing is going. It's an utter mess. It's chaos. And he is now wanting to manage the American economy. That is producing some anxiety on the part of investors. And the way you see that anxiety played out is the 30-year Treasury bill is now something that has become, in essence, a bellwether for the future of America, how investors view the future of America. So we have to pay a higher number to get people to invest in those 30-year T-bills. And for that reason, you get the sense that investors have anxiety about the economic future of America. So all the independence, all the idea that America is a rule of law nation and that there is this separation in terms of monetary policy, all of that goes away. And now I think you have significant anxiety about how things are being handled. And I'm talking about significant anxiety both by domestic investors and also by foreign investors. So there is a move on the part of Donald Trump threatening tariffs now on countries that discriminate against U.S. technology. He's saying, I can issue tariff levies and restrictions on the UK with their digital services tax, and EU states like France, Italy, and Spain quickly on this. He's just threatening export restrictions on country whose taxes, legislation, and regulations target U.S. big tech like Google, Meta, Amazon, Apple. He's saying on social media, digital taxes, legislation, rules, or regulations are all designed to harm or discriminate against American technology. The digital service tax is from the UK, and it's a 2% levy on revenues. It's so interesting that this happens in the same 7-day period that Trump goes after Intel and then takes a piece of Intel and totally reverses field on Intel, and we'll tell you how great Intel is now. And the CEO that he said, should have been removed and buried, he now believes, is a great guy.
It's so interesting that, I mean, how have you ever seen tariffs used like this before? Where does it stop? Every time he gets mad over something, he's like, that's it, tariff for you.
Yeah, that was the danger of this tariff thing to begin with. We pointed it out on the show right away. It sets up a system of patronage in a way, so you end up coming to Trump. Remember his whole thing? They're coming to me that all the time, and they're
kissing my ass.
That's exactly it, right? And so this sets up the opportunity for the chief executive to essentially levy with utter caprice, just on a whim. Whatever he wants. So
dinged for that, for sure.
Basically, caprice is a dingler.
Yeah.
But he is able to concoct whatever reason he wants, and he's able to enrich himself along the way. But he's also able to, he would say, protect America, from various, in this case, digital taxes that are levied against us. Just to skip back in the movie, Donald Trump shouldn't be able to, the president, leave aside Donald Trump or anybody else, shouldn't be able to unilaterally levy taxes. These are import taxes, and the chief executive shouldn't have anything to do with this aside from suggesting it and then bring it to Congress. Again, he declares a state of emergency. This is the same thing he's going to do around the elections, so I'm just letting you know. This is the dance. Better get used to it. This emergency declaration, And so it gives and vests in Donald Trump, the president of the United States, the power for these tariffs to be imposed. But the reality is these tariffs, these import taxes they shouldn't hold up in court. And they are going to be litigated. And then that money is going to have to be clawed back, et cetera. So it's a mess. But for the moment, that's where he is on taxes. The big news yesterday, and really this is the thing that I believe continues to work for the GOP and for Donald Trump. It's cultural issues. You know, Donald Trump, I think, wraps himself in the flag quite literally. There's shots of him hugging the flag, this sort of thing. There's a lot of performative patriotism, you know. So he wants to talk about the military and the veterans, but he doesn't want anybody who was injured in war, and he doesn't want them in the front, put them in the back. They make it look bad. So his view of patriotism is a stilted one. And one of the things he has done is declared that flag burning is illegal. And he's done this through executive order. He, I guess, just doesn't really note that, there's a Supreme Court case on this, right?
Right.
They voted 5-4.
Free speech.
It's the very thing that distinguishes Donald Trump's America, my America, your America, from other countries. The idea is you are allowed to burn the flag here. Not saying it's a good look, not saying you should do it, but you're allowed because it's First Amendment stuff. Now, right after his executive order, which, again, targets flag burning, there was a flag burning incident right across the street from the White House from a guy who is a combat veteran. He says he was burning the American flag in protest of this executive order. He's a 20-year combat veteran, as he identifies himself. I'm burning this flag as a protest to that illegal fascist president that sits in that house, as he pointed toward the White House from Lafayette Square, right across the street. The Secret Service said in a statement it detained the man for igniting an object, as they said, and he was turned over to U.S. Park Police. Again, all of it happening just hours after the executive order was signed. So,
a guy like that who served America, many of them, my husband included, will say, I served because I want to fight for the right for people to do that. Though I would not, they should. Anyone, an American, should have the right to burn the flag if they see fit. So you can't issue an executive order and then tell this guy that the years that he spent serving this country were for nothing.
When Trump signed this executive order, he said, when you burn the American flag, it incites riots at levels that we've never seen before. People go crazy. U.S. Attorney for Washington, D.C. Does anybody remember who the U.S. Attorney is for Washington, D.C.? Think Fox News. That's my clue to you. If you guess Jeanine Pirro, you can give yourself points. U.S. Attorney for D.C. Jeanine Pirro has played a key role in the Trump administration's efforts to exert federal control over parts of Washington. And she's shown a willingness to go after low-level transgressions like this one, the flag burning. She said this month, for example, that her office had charged a man accused of tossing a sandwich at a federal agent in D.C. with felony assault. So while Donald Trump can't make the flag burning illegal per se, he can write that executive order and he can animate people like Judge Jeanine Pirro to aggressively enforce in some way some other underpinning law, like creating a disturbance, or, there are all of these different ways in which they can pin this guy to the wall, and we'll see where it ends up. But they like to make examples of people. So that's the example they make. And on these cultural wedge issues like flag burning, probably polls pretty well, making it illegal. I mean, you and I think it's ridiculous because we feel it's a First Amendment right. But the idea somehow that that America feels that way, no. I think that MAGA Nation, most of the people who voted for Trump go, I don't know, it's not a bad idea to make it illegal. I don't mind that particularly. So bravo to Trump for that executive order. Again, the executive order I think will not hold up, but I'm just giving you sort of the temperature of the nation in a sense. So now that his types are wearing underwear made out of flags or flag printed material, how fake is it to legislate must respect the flag, says Christine Park. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. You know, back in the 60s, they had this same thing. They had all of these questions about flag burning, right? That's where these Supreme Court judgments come from. But one of the things that confused the matter was just what Christine Park is talking about in that comment, which is, well, what if are you allowed to wear the flag, put it on your jacket? Are you allowed to make pants out of the flag? Am I allowed to, you know, if there's stars and stripes are on my butt, can I sit on it? Or is that going to be disrespectful? Are the stars and stripes allowed on my shoes? Or is that, you know, you begin to get into this world. And so Christine has mentioned some of it. He wants to incite riots so he can call in the troops. Yeah, I mean, exactly. Performative patriotism. Exactly. I used to call it paper patriotism, but that's right, Heather Kennedy. Better title. Performative. Yeah. I used to call it paper patriotism because I think it's paper thin. You know, it's like just one dimensional. So doesn't reflect any actual sacrifice on his part, any actual understanding of the Constitution, any actual strategy to ensure rights of any kind. It's all just performative. That's a really great phrase. It's just another ploy to have to get the Democrats to appear to support someone like a flag burner. The fact is that it is a constitutional right. It's beyond the thought process of a lot of people, says Randy. Yeah, I think that's a good point. Yeah, the flag code. I don't know what the flag code is, D. Elliott. Mark, the flag code says you cannot wear the flag. Yeah, I mean, well, I don't know what the flag code is, but somebody's rewritten it because a lot of people wear the flag. I mean, there's a whole thing when I was a kid, you can't let the flag touch the ground. Remember that? I used to be in part of that detail that raise the flag every morning.
Code. Yeah, you don't let the flag touch the ground.
Yeah.
There are certain ways you have to just dispose of
fold
flags.
It. Yeah.
You can't just throw a flag away. You have to burn the flag before you dispose of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Brett Self says flag etiquette is very specific. This is kind of your point, Kim. Yeah. There are rules and there's protocol.
We have processes and protocols and standards.
Exactly. Propriety. There are rules and protocol, propriety, and equal respect, but you'd have to write laws to get people to respect the rules. Yeah, but there is flag etiquette. It's very specific, according to Brett. So, Trevor Starr in Hollywood says, what if Trump can just ignore Supreme Court rulings? We can ignore his insane executive orders, right? Yeah, this is where, you know, the rubber meets the road, right? This stuff will have to go up to the Supreme Court. And his view is that's my concierge Supreme Court, and I'll get whatever I want from them. So we'll talk more with David K. Johnson about this. But I think the idea that this kind of, I think it's a great way to put it, performative patriotism carries the day. It's significant because it's ways in which Trump can do something that he knows will, again, put the Democrats, as was correctly pointed out, on maybe the wrong side of the issue. Oh, you're for free speech? You're for burning the flag then? Is that what you Democrats are for? I'm not surprised. You know, you don't have the patriotism that my sharp, jagged-jawed Department of Defense head Pete Hegseth has. Yeah, that my aggressive attack dog Pam Bondi has. Those are real patriots. Kash Patel wanting to weed out those Democrats who had anything to do with defending J6ers. You know, the Justice Department has been purged of these people, and they haven't just been fired. They're going after them legally. They're really going after people to make life awful, to send a message. Don't go up against this regime. The weirdness out of the White House does take on a bizarre cast. Like it's out of a Wes Anderson movie. The idea somehow that in the middle of this conversation about the World Cup coming, that Donald Trump could pull out a picture that he clearly is excited. He pulls this picture out and holds it up the way a kid might pull out a picture of themselves and a rock star or a celebrity. I mean, like, it's just wild to see. Tony will give you a little bit. This is in the Oval Office, and this is a conversation that was taking place around the World Cup, and Donald Trump, again, you'll see him holding a picture. He retrieves the picture, holds it, waits for the guy to stop talking, and then he can't wait to get it out there. Go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
And I just sent a picture from somebody that wants to be there very badly. He's been very respectful of me and of our country, but not so respectful of others. But he'll, I'm going to sign this for him, but I was sent one, and I thought you'd all like to see it. That's a man named Vladimir Putin, who I believe will be coming, depending on what happens. He may be coming and he may not, depending on what happens. We have a lot of things happening over the next couple of weeks. But I thought it was a nice picture of him. Okay of me, but nice of him. So that was very nice that it was sent to me. Okay?
Mr. President, on
yes.
that subject, have you talked to Vladimir Putin about the fact that yesterday a big U.S. factory was hit in a Russian airstrike in Ukraine? What's your reaction to
I
that?
told him I'm not happy about it. And I'm not happy about anything having to do with that war. I said I settled 7 wars, and actually, if you think about pre-wars, add 3 more, so it would be 10. I thought this would be in the middle of the pack in terms of difficulty. No, I'm not happy about anything about that war. Nothing. Not happy at all. We'll see what happens. I think over the next 2 weeks, we're going to find out which way it's going to go. And I better be very happy.
Mr. President,
All right, I'm going to play that entire clip. Tony, if you'll put it aside for David K. Johnston, because I wanted just to get him to react to it.
But by the way, thing was weird, so weird. Why was he doing that?
Yeah, I mean, he's excited to have a picture of Vlad and himself there walking alongside each other. That was the picture from Alaska. And for those who are just listening, and maybe even some of those who are watching on YouTube, in the Oval Office, when Trump announced they would do the World Cup draw, he said they'll do it at the Kennedy Center, which Trump said many people now refer to as the Trump Kennedy Center.
Who is having that conversation?
He also called himself the president of Europe. He said they jokingly refer to me as the president of Europe, but that's no joke. It's a sign of respect that he earned overseas. So he's saying a bunch of like wild things lately.
Yeah, we'll talk to David K. Johnston about that. I really want him to react to that video. I also want to get to 2 other clips from the White House. Play me the clip, if you would, Tony, with Trump running through a bunch of stuff that absolutely never happened. This is kind of a, you know, he talks about these things. They're obviously concocted. When he strings them all together, it's really, it's quite a moment. Here you go.
Never seen before. Nobody lives like that. I have another friend. He has a garage, and in order to save his garage door, he leaves it open so that people can just walk into his garage, take whatever they want, and leave. But all the cars are, so many cars, I've been told this by many people, stars, big people, they leave their doors open so the doors aren't destroyed by these criminals. All over Los Angeles, this is taking place. And you know that. I mean, you've heard that. Christy, could you say a few?
Yeah, so there you go. That's all fiction.
Why is that new, that people leave their doors unlocked? I used to have a convertible, and I would leave the doors unlocked so that the top wouldn't get slit.
Right,
like, fine, take whatever you want out of here. That's great. You don't leave anything in the car that you like, right?
Right. I mean, honestly, you know, he's just picking these examples of sort of the lawlessness of American life, and I'm here to restore order and wait till I bring troops to your town. Hi, it's Mark, and I thought that was great. Hit the notification bell. You'll know whenever there's a new video being dropped, and please subscribe to our channel to help us save the universe.